Hello and welcome to Wiki Weekends, where we pull you through whatever hell, subject we want to through a wiki page. And I am your host, Lucas Holland, and we are joined, as always, by the luxurious voice behind the scenes of Karl Smallwood.
I'm behind the scenes for once. Feels so strange.
I mean, it's not that strange on Wiki Weekends.
It's not, no.
On Wiki Weekends, we share the love, Karl.
Mm-hmm.
And, speaking of sharing the love, I want to share some love of my favourite anime once again, Karl.
Oh, are we doing, One Piece Mondays again? Are we weaving Wednesdays?
We are, because our mutual friend sent me a message today, I know that One Piece has been, popping the fuck off lately, but also it's shit is about to, really go down.
Okay, so it's about, this is an anime that, for the record, has been, on the air for, 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's about to pop off now?
No, but this is, potentially, from the sounds of it, going to be, the biggest event yet. So, I don't know what that is, but basically our friend sent me a warning, you might want to catch up before next week. Because,
okay, that's always a good thing to get, isn't it?
Holy shit, you're going to get spoiled the shit out of it on the internet.
What is it about anime fans and ruining anime for everyone, including other anime fans?
Yeah, so I figured it would be a good time to talk about it once again, but I took some advice from you, Karl. I want to talk about this, and I know I've jumped in. Mm-hmm. Not maybe the deep end, but a deeper end than maybe you were ready for. So
okay, so we're not dipping our toes in. You're just going to do the classic bad parenting technique of just Sparta kicking me into the pool with the wave machines on.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I have done accidentally, but I'm listening to you. I want to talk about One Piece with you, but I want to take your feedback. And you said you maybe wanted something a bit more broad.
I guess it's more just rather than a specific character, concept within the universe, like the devil fruit. I think that's an interesting concept, something similar to that.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
The devil fruit, because that's the thing, I don't understand the basics of how the world works. So this would be very helpful for me.
That's sometimes hard for me to remember, is it's not even that just you're semi-familiar with it and you're ready to talk about it. It's you're a complete noob to this series, and maybe I didn't accommodate well enough for that, so I'm trying to do better and kind of bring you in at the shallow end, shall we say, to continue the metaphor.
Here's the thing, I'm familiar with One Piece via pop culture osmosis I've established, but I will say one of the things that really puts me off it is every time we talk about it, people being you need to watch it. Mm-hmm. You need to watch it, because every time I hear that, I'm stubborn. I'm British. I just hear that and I go, okay, down to the bottom of the pile it goes.
And that's how we've worked with Wiki Weekends, isn't it, for so many years.
Oh yeah.
Every time people mention you should really check this thing out, we're again, we're British, we're stubborn, we're fuck you, that goes to the bottom.
Honestly, never forget one of my most fire tweets of the last couple of months is when I just put out our friend who literally works for Games Workshop, when I asked him, should we do a Warhammer episode one day, sent me just the Hawkeye. Don't. You just sent that, and I went, that's all I need to know. The more not even inside, but the more dedicated a fan base is, the more likely they are to just be immediately off-putting the moment you try and talk about it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is when we first did an episode on Arlong, I then talked about it in the crocodile thing of people giving me shit for getting the most minor details wrong, and I'm yeah, if I completely fuck up all of the aspects of everything, then fair enough, but I'm trying to talk about a 25-year-long anime off the top of my head and riff on it. Regarding the Warhammer thing, is that would be even worse, because it's not even one of us knows about the source material. Yeah. Neither of us have any clue, and it would just be people tearing us apart in the comments.
Yeah, and it's just that thing of I can't imagine. I can, but I do want to know what goes to the head of people. I really like this thing. Here's someone trying to genuinely interact with it. I'm going to give them shit for not doing it the way that I like. It's I guess it's the same thing you see when it's people screaming at girls for not playing the right video games, and they'll say, "But I do play video games." It's watch which video. It's okay, cool.
But we are not here to ruin video games today. We are here to talk about the devil fruits from One Piece.
And this is what I want to know. Let's go.
Yeah, devil fruits are mysterious, distinctive fruits scattered throughout the world, known for permanently granting their eaters superhuman powers and equally permanent inability to swim. With only one notable exception, an individual can acquire the powers of a single devil fruit and survive. And I will mention here that in terms of spoilers, I will do my best to skirt around things, notable exceptions and stuff, and like trying not to get too far into it. If I do think that there's something that's going to be like super spoilery, I will, mention maybe there's like, stuff later down the lines, but I would, maybe say that if you're worried about like anything being spoiled, like to maybe just play a bit careful with this episode. But I'm trying not to, spoil current arcs or anything like that. If you're caught up, I'm not even caught up. I'm like a dozen episodes or so behind, like, but if you don't want spoilers for Wano or whatever, I'll try to not do anything like that. But there's inevitably talking about something that spans the entire universe of One Piece that I'm probably going to start getting into like spoilers, especially for earlier
brush against
stuff.
Something. Even
exactly, yeah.
By that same token, in the comments, don't spoil it for other people. Like, I think one of the singular... not like it's not the most annoying thing I've ever experienced, but I think like, do you when you get annoyed on someone else's behalf? And I think it's when I was watching you play Breath of the Wild. No, Tears of the Kingdom on Twitch, and there was one guy in your Twitch chat who was doing that thing where they're trying not to spoil it, but they can't help themselves. Like, oh, maybe you should go like do this before you do this. It's like, or every time you're going to do a puzzle, they'd like do that thing of like, oh, maybe you should look behind there. I'm not saying that the solution's there, but maybe it's like, oh.
Yeah, and like, for example, there's a lot of mentions of what powers are eventually acquired through devil fruits, for example, later on in the series and throughout the series. So like, I'm going to try and do my best to like not spoil things, but if you're like really sensitive to spoilers to the point where like you don't want to know what later power sets are, and like what later powers are revealed like in the series, like maybe this one is one for you when you catch up with One Piece. Go watch it.
Yeah, and it's just, I think this is a good one because it gives a broad overview of this. So this is the core concept that the entire series is built around the idea of these powers, right?
Essentially, like the two things are people need to find the One Piece, and people have devil fruit powers.
Yeah, and once you understand these two broad concepts, like everything else is just built upon them. Like these are like the bedrock, the foundation that this series is built upon. Like these two core concepts of the pirates finding the One Piece, magic powers.
Yes, and each devil fruit grants a special power to anyone who eats it, even the simplest powers possible, such as stretching like rubber, to powers capable of causing large-scale destruction, creating earthquakes, for example. And it's like, I like how immediately they go with the simplest power possible, becoming a rubber man.
The power of the main character.
The power of the main character, where he uses in like 50 different applications.
Well, that's what I was going to say, isn't it? And one of the things that you've always spoke so highly about this series is that the most mundane, seemingly inconsequential, useless power can be terrifying in the right hands. And
Luffy is that perfect encapsulation of like, he gets made fun of for having that power, and it's like, you can only have one power, you fucked up, you got the rubber one.
You got the gum fruit, you idiot.
You got the gum fruit, and like his like brother like takes the piss out of him, like, you've got the most useless fucking devil fruit ever, mate. Like, you are going nowhere in life now, you're never gonna be a good pirate. And it's like, but Luffy takes that and works with it.
Just as a clarification, when you say they can't swim when they have a devil fruit, is it like if you threw like me into the water and I'd struggle for life? Obviously, they sink like a stone.
They will sink like a stone. They lose their abilities in the water to some extent. Like, for example, Luffy sinks like a stone at one point, but like you can see that his body can still stretch if pulled. And his body sinks and his head stays afloat because someone's grabbed it. So like, it's not like your body completely returns to a human form or anything, but like, you lose the ability to do like anything in the water. Okay, so
you sink like a stone and lose complete like control of your body.
Yeah,
which is terrifying.
If you drop in the sea, if someone cannot jump in and grab you, you just sink and die.
So that's something I was curious about. Like when you say they can't swim, it's like, well, not being able to swim doesn't mean you're going to drown necessarily. It means you'll just float and panic for a few minutes.
And they even turn, they even like kind of utilize that, especially the government, by making sea stone prism.
You mentioned that, yes. In
that video. Then becomes like, they make handcuffs out of sea stone. And sea stone is imbued with the sea water, and it literally depowers people. And it's like, that's how much of an effect that the sea has on them. It's not just like, oh, I can't swim properly and I struggle a bit and I can, like, float. It is just like, no, it drains you.
What's it like, though, during that bit where you get a bit wet and you have, like, wet socks on? What would that be like? Like, the thing is...
it would probably completely drain them of energy. You see a scene where, like, Luffy's encaged, trapped in, like, a cage...
Yes.
And it's kicking off, and the moment he grabs onto the prison bars, he just drops to the floor and is drained of energy.
What? Like, the thing is, how do they avoid, like, sea spray?
Yeah.
Just when you're on the ocean waves. What happens there? Like, the spray of the sea comes on and hits you on the face.
It's nice, smooth anime water, Carl. Don't worry about it.
The entire deck of the ship is constantly got people having a seizure every time they go, like, break a wave or something. Because I just have a super soak. A super soak in that universe must be terrifying.
Yeah. It's like I mentioned previously that like there's fishmen who do fishman karate, including like using water like a shotgun or like a pistol, and like just firing seawater at people is so powerful.
I think it's got salt in it as well, so just some salt in people's eyes. So maybe they can't salt the chips as well. If they're having like some chips, they can put salt on it because that's technically from the sea. Can they eat fish? These are the questions that I want answering.
They can definitely eat fish.
Because that's the thing, when you introduce a concept like this, I'm just in my head of like, okay, can they do this? What about this?
They can definitely eat fish, and it's like really cool in the sense of like, because Oda's completely insane and goes like into detail with everything.
Yes, which you mentioned.
There is like broken down blueprints that he's drawn of like, here's the breakdown of the ship, and every floor of the ship and every room of the floors of the ship and what they look like. And it's like they have like a giant aquarium in the middle of the ship where they keep all the fish for the chef to be able to prepare freshly cooked fish at all times. It's like, that's so cool.
The thing is, I love stuff like I don't read manga as much as I used to. I always liked in like the middle of like a manga, they'll be like, oh, here's like the author's notes bit, and they'll show you like, here's some like drafts of like some drawings that I was doing, or like here's just like a little, like the Dragon Ball ones will be like power level explanations and stuff like that, or like here's like, just Goku in casual outfits and an explanation for why I drew him like this. So I really appreciate stuff like that. I want more bits of media to do it, like behind the scenes making of and stuff.
It's one of those things of like, I'm an anime viewer, but I've heard, from other channels and stuff that I follow, like Oda is crazy good for doing stuff like that. But again, like he provided people with like an 18-page breakdown of every level of the ship and what its functions are and stuff. It's so cool. But going back to the fruits are broadly grouped into 3 classes.
Okay.
There is Zoan, which allows a user to transform into an animal as well as an animal hybrid. There is Logia fruit, which grants a user the power to create, control, and transform their body into a natural element. For example, like fire. So you become
sand,
like a person made of fire, or sand, Mr. Crocodile, Sir Crocodile. And then Paramecia, which offers any of a vast array of strange abilities that do not fit into the other 2 categories.
It feels like there should be more categories. This feels like he had 3 categories. So he's got transform into an animal, transform into an element, miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Although I bet in that like list of miscellaneous, there's probably there are some broad trends where you could like focus in a little bit more.
Yeah, and there's weird like crossovers where it's like, well, Luffy is a Paramecia, but like, would you not think that is a Logia power because his entire body becomes an element of rubber? But then
would it not be an animal one because he looks like a giraffe a little bit?
Well, there is a giraffe fruit.
Is there a giraffe fruit? That's amazing.
And funnily enough, it's
the only one that can stop you from drowning in shallow water.
It's Jenna's favourite and least favourite one because it's
I need to look up what's the character with a giraffe fruit? Tell me this. Actually, if I Google giraffe gum fruit.
Giraffe fruit, One Piece.
Devil fruit, sorry. Giraffe devil fruit. What does that guy look like? The Ushi no Midi model giraffe. Let's have a look. Oh my god, that's just a giraffe wearing a suit.
Yeah, and like every time I mention it, she's like, oh, imagine just like any power in the world is possible from eating this fruit and you turn into a fucking giraffe.
But I'm just looking at it and it's like, he's just a giraffe.
He's just a giraffe, man. And that's what they become. They become like animal hybrid people.
Well, the thing is, though, he's like wearing like a t-shirt and he's just stood flexing on someone. I don't know how to feel about a giraffe with a six-pack, man. I don't like that.
I really like those Zoan fruits because you can essentially become 3 forms. You can become full human, full animal, or hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
So it like allows for a good... Again, it's not just, oh, you become half man, half giraffe. It's like, no, you become one of 3 things. And you can change that on the fly to like utilize in battle better.
So I'm looking at this as like some of the screenshots of this like giraffe man. He's like walking around like a giraffe, but then other times he's just stood up talking to people and doing kung fu.
And it's really funny in that arc because one of their allies is like a wolf man. And it's like this big badass buff wolf man who's super cool, and then just giraffe dude.
I'll tell you what though, so I need to know what other things you can turn in. Like, please give me some examples of the animal fruits then. Because giraffe might be the stupidest one, but I'm thinking, if you were drowning, you'd want to be a giraffe.
Well, Carl.
Gives you the most chance to not die.
Maybe my favourite one is the human fruit, which is eaten by an animal.
No, shut up, human fruit. What the fuck's that? Human devil fruit. What the fuck's that? Human devil fruit.
One of the crew members, Chopper, is a reindeer that ate the human fruit.
Yeah, there is like the weird like reindeer guy.
Yeah.
He's like one with the big hat, right?
He's not a man that ate the reindeer fruit. He's a reindeer that ate the human fruit.
That's so... What happened if a human ate that?
What happens if a human eats the human fruit?
Do you become double human?
That's the suckiest power.
Do you become double human? And then
you just become Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's all you do.
It just turns you into a human who can't swim, so it turns you into me. That's so dumb. Come on, give me some other examples. I need to know. Come on, give me some more Zoan types.
Some more Zoan users.
I want to know.
Let's click on the class of Zoan users, shall we?
Yeah, like give me some examples like the shit people can turn into.
So immediately the first picture is the Buffalo Man.
See, Buffalo sounds quite good because, like, you know, that's a big, buff, strong animal.
Subclasses of the Zoan fruit. So there's ancient Zoans where you transform into like dinosaurs.
Oh, so fucking cool.
Yeah, so you get people that can turn themselves into dinosaurs and ancient animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they are obviously much rarer than the regular Zoan fruit. And then you've got like the mythical Zoan fruits as well. So
that would be mythical creatures?
Mythical creatures, so you turn into, you know, like dragons and phoenixes and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's like the edgiest thing that ever happened with like Teen Titans, and it's where like Beast Boy gets the ability to only turn into mythical creatures, so he just keeps turning into fucking like centaurs and shit.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Like, do you have any like examples of like what do you think would be the worst animal one to turn into them? The human one sounds pretty bad. She just turns into a human who can't swim. Oh, she can't swim, sorry.
It just says the human fruit allows an animal to eat it and become a half human hybrid or full human, as well as granting them human-like intelligence and the ability to speak. Oh, there's this one, the human fruit Daibutsu model, which allows somebody to become a giant golden Buddha.
That sounds good, unless you can't move.
No, you can, yeah.
Okay, because it's like, you can turn into a human. It sounds like the King Midas thing, isn't it? Like, everything I touch turns to gold, and then he tries to eat, and it's like, oh no.
Mm-hmm. So there's the bird series, which they've shown us. Falcon, Phoenix, and Albatross.
I think birds are automatically going to be good because it gives you access to an entire extra axis of movement.
Exactly.
Like you can just fly. You move on the Z axis now. Fuck you.
They've shown some dogs. They got the Dachshund, of course. The mutt fruit.
I guess that'd work. You know, very high. You know, so I was thinking, is there any animal that's worse than humans in every way? Because almost every animal has like that one advantage over human. Like dogs, smaller but great sensors like sight and smell and hearing.
Exactly, yeah.
Even something like a mouse has, like, you know, an incredibly adept sense of smell and awareness.
Yeah, because I'm going through, there's like horse models, cat models, and I say model of fruit. So like, you know, a horse fruit or a Pegasus fruit, a leopard or a saber tiger.
All these sound rad as fuck.
They do, and they pretty much are. A mammoth one. The dragon series. The dragon is okay, a lot of these are like dinosaurs. It's like the Spinosaurus.
The bird one sounds the worst though, because the best, because the bird one means you can fly. And if it's like, oh, I can't swim, but I'm never going to touch the ground.
There is also bug models.
Oh, that'd be great. Stun the insect. Because they're the ones you want.
There is one that full rhinoceros beetle.
Rhinoceros beetle is fucking sick broken.
Become a hornet.
No, rhinoceros beetle, it can lift 50,000 times its own weight. A human-sized rhinoceros beetle could lift up a tank and throw it into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's like a Heracross, isn't it?
Yeah, Heraboss.
Heracross just like throwing an entire Team Rocket tank back at Team Rocket.
Oh, like I said, like stun the insect from Bloody Raw.
There's a mole fruit, a turtle fruit. Oh, yeah.
That'd be good. Become a Ninja Turtle.
I forgot. The egg fruit.
You just become an egg?
It gives the user the body properties of an egg. When the shell is destroyed, the user will regenerate from the yolk in a stronger chicken-like form.
Isn't like the egg shape just Elon Musk's body type? So did you ever see that picture of him with his shirt off? It's like, why is he built like a deep breath?
So like that's the thing is, the Zoan are great, but Carl,
yes.
Do you want to know what might be the best Zoan type?
Okay, let me guess. Are you saying best as in jokingly or best as in actually? Okay, so it's gonna have to be like an animal that is crap. It's like
no, I'm not.
He's not. It's a crap
not
animal.
Talking about specifically the animal that it's turned into. So you're never gonna guess this, so I'm just gonna tell you. It is the inanimate object Zoan. Some years before the current timeline, Dr. Vegapunk discovered a technique that allows one to make an inanimate object eat a devil fruit. The details of the technique have not yet been revealed, but there is, for example, a sword that can turn into an elephant.
But he doesn't have consciousness.
I don't know. It gains consciousness and becomes a sentient sword that can turn into elephant.
What?
And I guess they've never revealed it because
that's
don't worry about it. Anime. I'm gonna send you the picture of the sword that's an elephant.
Wait, what? No, that's just a sword. That's an elephant. What's he doing?
It's a sword that's an elephant.
But how does a sword gain consciousness? I guess these are like magical, mystical devil fruit.
Mm-hmm. It is just like, don't worry about it. But I can't ever stop thinking about the fact that they get like a gun to eat a devil fruit.
You start eating it, it can't eat. It doesn't have it lacks the digestive system. Although I would like to feed an elephant the elephant fruit and see what happens.
Yeah.
Double elephant, let's go.
And yeah, it says objects that have ingested a Zoan fruit gain the standard full beast and hybrid transformations, in addition to the ability to turn back into their own object form at will.
Why would you ever do that?
It gives them the mobility, abilities, and intelligence of the animal they turn into, in addition to having the properties and abilities of the object they were made from. Inanimate object Zoans seem to be very loyal to whomever owns them.
See, that'd be good, because it's like, I would love to turn my iPhone into a dog.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
However, Carl, the object also gains a living creature's ability to feel pain and fear and become susceptible to disease.
I'd suck, wouldn't it? So, no, my iPhone.
Imagine being a sword that gains the power of being able to feel pain and fear.
And you're a sword. Imagine being I said my dog phone. I mean, I can't use my phone on bonfire night. It just runs under the sofa. I can't get it out. So now come back.
So going back to just devil fruits in general, Carl. Devil fruits have empowered many of the world's most significant individuals, especially among the three great powers. Mm-hmm. So that in the world is like the government, the pirates, and the revolutionary army, I believe.
Yeah.
It's like they are the three great powers in struggle. Yeah, no politics in One Piece, don't worry about it. This, along with the general rarity, causes them to be highly sought after. Single specimens may be valued at hundreds of millions in belly, which is the equivalent of yen. Mm-hmm. It's that universe's version of money. And extensive efforts have been made to mass produce artificial versions for warfare, because of course.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because you see people go like, well, if they're so rare, how could so many people in the anime use them? And it's like, because you're at a point in the anime where you are having the world powers and the most powerful people in the world all come together to fight one another.
Also, as well, it's that thing of the story follows people who have them. So naturally, they're going to face off with... There's probably like millions of people who don't have them, but they're not in this story.
It says majority of citizens have never even like seen one in real life before. It's like just this thing that like nebulously exist.
Well, it's like the thing as well. It's like, oh, Dragon Ball. Why are there so many Saiyans in the series if they're supposedly so rare? It's like, because the main character's one.
Yeah.
Of course, the story's naturally going to follow his adventures, and he's naturally going to encounter other very strong beings, because that's the point of the story.
It's that same argument, isn't it? Of like, well, it's really convenient that the TV show or movie or whatever just happens to cut in to like the most interesting part of the story. Like, well, yes. Because why would we want to watch the characters in the not interesting parts? We have a quote here of the overview. It just says, "They say that the devil fruit was enchanted by sea devils. Whoever eats it gets amazing powers, but the seas turn against them." I do really like the main premise of like the power set in One Piece is like, oh, you're pirates, but the sea turns against you.
Can I just like say one thing? So I did look at like some example of the devil fruit. What is it with the character designs in One Piece? Like, why is it like some characters look sick awesome and other ones like, what is this horrible monster?
Like I would say that it's because Oda takes a very exaggerated approach into making the character visually represent what they are meant to be. Yeah,
is that why you can't draw women right? Because I think every now and again you see, is it Nami?
There's Nami and Robin, and it's like, why do women in One Piece all have to have like the most ridiculous sized chests in the world?
Because I've seen like that famous like shit post that goes around like the first, and then just as it goes into like the proportions get more and more ridiculous.
It becomes more and more comical how like their bodies are proportioned over time, and it's one thing that I really take a lot of issue with One Piece. Is like the hypersexualization at times, and just I know it's in a lot of anime, but I hate it in every anime it's in. And it's the one thing in anime that I'm like, yep, I can't defend any of this.
It's the biggest hurdle to trying to get people to try it, because when you like, if you just, I'm going to do right now, I'm going to open up like a new incognito tab. I'm just going to Google anime. So it's like, a fresh instant, like let's go look at images on anime. Okay, so the first couple are fine. It's like, it's One Piece, a Dragon Ball picture, My Hero Academia. Within, I'm just going to send you the screenshot, Lucas.
Oh, no.
Okay, so while you're talking, I'll like, get the screenshot and I'll send it to you. So like, here's like the first like 6 things that pop up on like, Google image search on like, a fresh, no cookies or anything on your YouTube, on your Google.
It's like, oh look, it's Luffy and Goku and underage teenage girl like in anime skirt. That's
so
like,
I think how many are in the way? I count in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 pictures in before it's like an underage lollybait.
Well, it's like number 4 is like, oh, cute kawaii cat girl. And okay,
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, this is why it's so difficult to like. It's like, look, you ignore that. It's like, again, all media has this, but imagine like trying to recommend movies to someone, and when you Googled the word movie, the third thing that came up is like that shot from like Transformers of like a fresh jailbait
or
Megan
just
Fox.
Quentin Tarantino like
foot shots,
the foot shots.
So imagine if that was what was defining the genre, the medium.
Can you imagine how much Quentin Tarantino would have lost his shit if he was directing the Barbie movie? With all the foot shots of Margot Robbie they have.
Don't forget, there was he had Margot Robbie in one of his movies, and she does an interview, but I think she, like, bless her, where she's like, yeah, my feet were really dirty, and he kept filming them, and I thought this is kind of weird. And he kept filming them, saying, no, it's really good for the shot, and he took loads of footage that never made it into the film of my feet, and it's like, oh, he's wanking over that. Oh yeah. He's sat there at home going, oh, those little piggies.
So, Carl, devil fruits come in all shapes and sizes. Though all the devil fruits seen so far have possessed swirl marks or patterns, the only known exceptions are something that's a spoiler.
Yeah, do you have to eat all of it, or do you just have to eat a little bit?
So, the first bite grants a power, and I'm not sure why people eat the whole thing.
They must taste really nice.
There's one character, as I was doing a bit of research beforehand, that has eaten the rest of the devil fruit after somebody's eaten the power, and it's a non-canon thing. So, like, canonically, it's never been shown for anyone to try and eat the rest of the fruit after the power's been acquired.
Which must mean it tastes like shit then.
According to the wiki, anyway. I can't think of an example anywhere that I've seen, but a lot of the time taste horrible, apparently, yes. But people generally eat the whole thing. Like, there are multiple scenes where you see people ingest them and they eat the whole thing, and I don't quite know why, and there's a lot of, like, kind of mystery and intrigue around the devil fruits in universe, so maybe people are afraid that if they don't eat the whole thing, it doesn't take effect, or if, like, the rest of the fruit gets destroyed, the power goes away.
Yeah. So that's all well and interesting, Lucas, but I need you to explain this screenshot to me. So I was still looking at pictures of a giraffe guy. What is this?
Oh no, what have you said?
Can you... What's going on there?
I cannot remember why he becomes a cube.
Why is the giraffe man just a perfect cube now?
I cannot remember why he becomes a cube, or how he becomes a cube.
That screenshot alone has made me want to watch this show more than anyone telling me to. It's like, why is there a cube giraffe man?
Oh dear, I don't remember, because that's maybe episode 300 and something, and I'm on episode 1000 and something.
Are you telling me there's more crazy about? Are you telling me that this anime gets so ridiculous, like a giraffe man turning into a perfect cube is not
nothing.
memorable?
He's pre-time skip, Carl.
That's pre-time skip cube.
That's pre-time skip giraffe man. And of course, there's a time skip as anime. I'm sorry if people consider that a spoiler, but
oh my god.
Yeah.
Please tell me that this is this quote accurate? Like, 'cause I've got a gif of it now where it's got his quote on there, and his quote is, "I may be a block, but there's no attack I cannot block."
I think that's right.
That can't be right. He turns into a block to block the attack.
If Kaku is the reason that you get into One Piece, I'm going to be so happy.
It's just like the quote of, "I may be a block, but there's no attack I can't block." And just the fact that becoming a perfect cube is seen as the way to block attacks.
And honestly, Carl, if that's something that you find interesting, like, you should check the series out, because that's kind of why I love One Piece so much. Is all of the anime nerds telling you to watch it because it's the greatest thing of all time, whatever. It's got such, like, a perfect sense of humor to my liking, of, like, it's a very cool and at times very, like, serious political drama, but at the same time it's like you can have a giraffe man that turns into a cube to block attacks. Like,
well, Lucas, like, read that quote.
Oh no,
that's from the manga. What does he say in the manga?
It's like, shut up, what are you doing? You can't get a shot in now that I'm a perfect cube. And just a big bam as he turns into a cube form.
Thing is, though, if I was in a fist fight with a giraffe and it turned into a cube, I'd be fucking terrified. Imagine the amount of, like, mass compacted in there. That's a dense giraffe.
Oh dear. And, like, obviously this page goes on forever, Carl.
Of course it does, yeah.
And I don't really know how to just top Giraffe Man turned into cube, and I think,
why was that not what you used to sell me on this show? I might give it a watch now.
Exactly, and you know, there's hours and hours that I could delve into all this stuff.
Of course, yes.
If Giraffe Man turns into cube to block attacks isn't enough to, like, sell you on the dumb and just incredible anime that, like, One Piece is. It will be hard to explain further why One Piece is great past Cube Giraffe Man.
Like, Lucas, you can't get a shot in now that I'm a perfect cube. Because the thing is, I can imagine just saying that to someone and then their response is, well, shit, he is a perfect cube.
He's a cube.
What do I do? What do you do? The cubic giraffe. Unstoppable.
So, you know, go check out the wiki page, because there's a shit ton more to deal with, but we've already been going on quite long, and I think the perfect cube is the perfect way to end this episode.
I know what screenshot's going on the thumbnail for this one. If you don't use that as the thumbnail, I'm gonna be so mad.
If the cube giraffe isn't the thumbnail, then I'm a coward.
Yeah,
we heard it here first.
You're a coward and a charlatan.
Oh, thank you all, and it's been, another lovely time talking about One Piece.
Hell, goddamn yes.
Let's not spoil things in the comments. Let's just talk about the cube man.